Hey everybody, welcome back to another SkySwitch webinar. This is webinar number 2 in our Vectors CloudMessage series. We just wanted to make sure we gave all the sponsors enough time to be able to participate in this webinar. So today we're just going to go over our new SMS tool, CloudMessage, and how you as sponsors can take advantage of this free tool during Vectors. And today we have Derek Hannekins with us. He is the product director at SkySwitch, and he is going to answer any and all of your questions about how you can use CloudMessage at Vectors. So Derek, take it away.
Thanks, Erica. Good morning, everybody. Again, this is the second one. We did this again on Wednesday. We're going to just kind of walk through this. So CloudMessage is our new tool for SMS that we are going to be basically announcing and presenting as a new product at SkySwitch's Vectors. And so let me get into a quick introduction. If you haven't met me, and I'm looking at the attendees list, I see a couple that I am aware of and have met, but if you're not, I'm Derek Hannekins. I joined SkySwitch about 8 months ago as product director. And in that time, we focused a lot on 10DLC compliance and SMS, specifically this CloudMessage platform. And we're ready to get it out into the world. But what we're doing here today is offering it up as a product that you can use to engage with their resellers at Vectors. And so I kind of get into it here. So what is CloudMessage? Basically, it's an advanced version of SMS. It's a different little platform than what you'd use inside of a normal SMS. You can do number sharing, which isn't necessarily relevant here, but some of the key pieces that we're going to be able to utilize at Vectors for you are things like automatic replies, blast campaigns, and then the list management. So basically what will happen is we're going to set it up for you. We're going to get you credentials. We're going to get you access to the portal. We're going to get you a dedicated telephone number for SMS. And what will happen is on your table toppers, you will get a QR code that resellers or attendees can scan. It's going to send a word in. That keyword is going to have an auto response, and then it's going to give them options. And we'll go through that here in a second. But the key thing is this is something that we want to have you guys engage with the resellers with, have them scan your QR code on your table. And then basically you can communicate back and forth. This is free to use. We're not going to charge you guys for this. The number that you'll have assigned to you will be there in place for probably a month after Vectors. So you can basically take all the information and the conversations and utilize them and communicate with them anytime during the Vectors or after. Some of the stats on his are some of the key ones actually are really the click through on SMS. So if I'm going to get a message on my phone and it's a pop-up or an ad or something like that, I'm likely to click on the SMS before any of that. And that's true with some of the stats. It's 20% click-through rate on SMS. So when they scan that QR code and get a response back and they're given options, they're going to engage with those options and reply back, and it's all going to be automated. We'll show you that in a minute. So how to use it? Basically, again, we're going to have a little QR code, a little table topper put on your table. They'll scan it. So when they walk up and you have a little conversation, you can say, hey, we've got some URLs to some reading material or whatever promotional options that you have. You can scan this code to get that. Also, you can schedule meetings with them as well. So when they scan it, they're going to be given the option to schedule or promo. They type in schedule. That'll be whatever URL or email or telephone number for them to reach out to you to schedule a meeting. See here. Also, the thing that is neat too is that QR code will automatically put them on a list. And so you'll be able to gather all of the people that have scanned your QR codes into a single list. And using other options like the blast or replies and things like that, you can send messages out during Vectors. So you can announce, hey, we're going to have a demo at our booth, or we're going to actually have a live giveaway. Come to our booth at this time, and you can blast out to anybody who has scanned that that QR code. So what they do? So this is how it works. So they walk up, you have an introduction, and say, hey, scan this code, and get some more information. They'll scan it. The QR code presets a keyword vectors to the dedicated telephone number that you have, sends it out, and then you automatically respond with those messages. And that's where they'll get the schedule or the promo responses. If you choose to do a prize, we are going to have the ability for you to pick a prize by sending a keyword to your number. And what it'll do is it reaches out into the list, and whoever scanned in and become part of that list, it'll pick one of the random winners and then send them a message that says something like, hey, you're one, come back to our booth and claim your prize. And then obviously you'll say who it is as well. So this is what we're doing here today. So before the event, you probably were sent out a jot form that fills out the information, who you are, who's attending, the messages that you want to send. That will also translate into the training session. So this is our training session. We'll record it and send it back out for you guys to review. Basically, once we have your information from the jot form, you're going to log into your account and it'll all be pre-populated. So I'll take whatever you fill out, create all the messages and everything for you. Essentially, all you have to do is log in and test it. So you can test the canned responses. You can send a text message from your phone into it. You can tinker with how it works. You can send the keyword vectors, all that type of stuff. So we encourage you to test it prior to it and get familiar with it. And if you have any questions, obviously we'll help you out. If you need to do another training session, or if the reviewing the recording isn't enough, you can reach out to me on emails that were sent out, and Erica sent out. I'm copied on all of those, so you can reach out to me and we can do a one-on-one if necessary. Otherwise, we will be at our SkySwitch booth, and somebody will be there that knows how to set all this up and can help you there. So at Vectors, you set up the booth, you display your table topper. And again, when you introduce yourself and you're having a meaningful conversation, encourage them to scan that QR code. That'll help you track which ones were actually more than just someone grabbing a pen or walking by the booth or whatever. And then utilize that platform again during the event, and then after the event, you can use the web map, or we can get into the mobile app as well. One of the things that we want to just kind of encourage is that the messaging, if you do blast messages, so if you're going to send out blast campaigns to everybody who has scanned your QR code, we want to do that during times that are not during live presentations or demos that are happening. Basically, we don't want a bunch of heads dropping, looking down at their phones during a live presentation. We don't want their attention to be drawn away. So during the lunches, breaks, and things like that, we're happy to have blast messages go out. I'm going to do a little walkthrough on the demo of the actual portal itself, and then kind of walk you through how that works. And then we can kind of go through the jot form at the end. So here we go. So I still have some data populated from the first time we did this. Basically what happens is, you can see we send in the word Vectors, and what happens is the automatic response goes and says, hello, thank you for visiting the booth. And it gives them those options of, reply with schedule or reply with promo. And if you reply with schedule, then whatever that mechanism that you chose, whether it's a Calendly link, a URL, a telephone number to call to schedule, or if you say email this, email address, whatever that message is, the phones will automatically be able to pick that URL and go to a browser, click that number and go to a call. So they can just click right in there. And if they continue to go down the other one and pick promo, you can send a URL or whatever information you want. So if you're prepackaging like a PDF or a URL, downloadable URL somewhere that shows a discount or a focused product that you have at the Vectors, you can send them whatever you want there. And it can be 1 or 2 or 3 URLs if you want, just the messages, up to you how you pick. And again, at the bottom, you can talk to them. You can say hello, or you can say, hey, you forgot your laptop at my booth, whatever the conversation can be. You can continue that conversation there. So the contacts will be added in, and what we have is another registration form that automatically is asking everybody to fill out their name and number. And so we're going to pre-populate all the numbers with the name, so you know who you're communicating with. Normally, it's going to be you create your contact, you add the name and go forth. But we're going to automatically add those names in based on their registration pieces. So you'll know who you're talking to. And when they send in the word Vectors, that Vectors keyword is not only going to send an auto response, and it's also going to add them to the list. So we have a Vectors list here, and then as people scan your QR code at your booth, basically this list is going to continue to grow, and you're going to be able to utilize this list inside of a blast campaign. So, and if you need to add somebody in here, you can add them as well. You can manage your contacts and do that. The blast campaign is basically the other one. So for example, I created one that basically says, hey, thank you for visiting our booth at Vectors. We'll reach out to you, or whatever message you want. This isn't in the jot form. This is something that I'm going to just put in a thank you message and pre-create one for you. You can edit that. You can schedule it. Basically, if we want to schedule these, we can schedule it to send out at the end of the day on Tuesday, or even sometime during the morning on Wednesday at Vectors. So those are going to be the key pieces as far as how we want to use it and how it's used. And then I just kind of want to walk through the jot form here. So basically, this is the jot form that we got sent out to everybody. It's going to ask your sponsor company name and whoever the sponsor booth representative is. So if you know you're going to be there manning the booth and you want to be the one in contact, or if you're filling it out for somebody who is going to be there, enter in their information and their contact and that. So then we can make sure that we're utilizing that where we need it. The rest of this is going to be you customizing the messages that are going to get sent out. So for example, here's the first one. Vectors. So, I thank you for, visiting our booth at Vectors, to schedule a meeting, reply with schedule and so on. Basically, you can edit that, you can change it, you can leave it. I would customize it with your company name. I would customize it with, whatever personalized information you need. And then also down at the bottom, you got the schedule and the promo. So again, these are things that we've kind of, canned response that we want to, have it, familiar for everybody, everybody using the same format, everybody using the same keywords. So when an attendee goes from one booth to the next and they scan that code, they're going to have that same experience at one booth or the other. So they can pick whether it's a promotional URL that they want. Again, if you're not handing out papers and you're sending promotional URLs, you can have them scan, type in promo, and boom, they get the URL for all the content that you want to have them take away. And so you can schedule however you want, again, number, URL, and email address, however you want them to engage with you to schedule a meeting. And then at the bottom, whether or not you'd like to do some sort of raffle option. So if you do want to do some sort of prize or raffle option, what we can do here is you send a keyword in, and again, it's going to pick somebody from the list randomly and tell them they're the winner, and then to come back and claim your prize. So if you choose to give something away, it's optional. You can pick no if you want. And then basically, if you do, just pop in the information that you want, and be sure to tell them what booth that you're in, or basically what prize they won, if it's a phone or tablet or some fancy little trinket or whatever. Just tell them, hey, come back to the booth, claim your prize. And then the last part down here is a call forward number. So if you don't fill it in, the telephone number that we assign for SMS does have the ability to have calls. So if somebody ends up trying to call the number based on the SMS conversation, we're going to forward that number somewhere. You can forward it to the office to have somebody else manage that call, or you can basically be the mobile contact number. If that field doesn't get entered in, we'll probably just populate it with whoever's number is at the top. All right, so that's pretty much it. So we've kind of gone through everything pretty quick. I want to open it up and see if anybody has any questions. Again, we'll send out the recordings and you can review this. And if you need to have one-on-one messages and things like that, we can definitely have those conversations. I'm going to go back and then go ahead and do this. Is there, so Erica, do we have everybody that wants to unmute? And if anybody wants to ask questions, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, everyone's able to unmute. If you have any questions you want to ask, feel free.
Will the table topper be provided with a QR code, or do we have to create one ourselves?
Nope, we're going to provide it. So that's
Okay.
one of the things that I'm going to do is once we gather all the information and everybody fills out the form, I will assign a telephone number, and then we'll have a table topper created for you.
Okay. And what does that look like? Is it a stand, or how big is it?
It shouldn't be very big. Normally,
Okay.
depending on which one we choose, they're just a piece of paper that fold up on themselves like a triangle.
Right.
So,
Perfect.
and that's
Yeah.
generally what we'll do.
I think we were thinking about doing like he said, like a little tabletop tent, or even like if we just had a piece of paper laminated on the table and it's on there, and when they're standing there, they can scan it, but it's not going to be large.
Yep.
Perfect. And then if we wanted to do a raffle, can we put one next to it saying, hey, come visit our booth? We've got an Amazon gift card.
Yeah. So
Or-
however you want to do that, I would just encourage them to say, hey, scan this code, and then
Right.
that automatically enters them into to be a winner. And then you can have it sitting there. You can have it sitting next to the table topper and display it however you choose. But I think it's kind of a conversation thing that you guys may drive and say, the meaningful conversations, you really want to have them scan so that if people are just walking up to scan things to win a prize, that's not necessarily a meaningful conversation. So you can kind of gauge the interest on the reseller and the conversation and encourage them to do that, and then explain to them that there is a prize. So
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
I
Anybody
might have
else?
yeah, sorry. I might have missed this. I had to step away for a second. So do we need to download an app for the text messaging, or is it just a number that we're gonna add to our phone, or how does that work?
Nope, good question. So it's all just web-based. So you can do it on a laptop. You can do it on a phone as well. So there is an app to download, and we'll make sure everybody who wants to do the app can do that. But basically, it's going to run kind of on its own. I would encourage you to log in and monitor it. So if you're bringing a laptop, great. Then you can see the whole screen. Basically, let me go back here. Basically, you would log in, it would look just like this. So if you are monitoring it constantly, then you can go in here and have the conversations where you can respond to it. So, but yes, there is an app, and if you do want to choose to get the app, then feel free to reach out to me. Basically, we can send you the link directly, or it's just on CloudMessage.io's website. So,
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
no worries. Anybody else have any questions? Those are good questions. If not, what we'll do then is we'll thank you for your time, and then we will send out recordings, and we'll follow up with the URL. So if you don't have the email with the URL, let us know. It should have been in the original invite to the original notification of this webinars. Just go ahead and fill it out. If you don't fill it out, I will try to reach out and say, hey, are you interested in doing this? And if you're not, it's no big deal. And if you don't want to go through the whole promo and schedule and all that, if you want just one response, we can customize it a little bit, let me know. But this is just the format that we chose, was to schedule and promo. Basically, we felt that was the two pieces that people are going to walk away with. So again, if there's no other questions, I appreciate your time and looking forward to seeing you guys at Vectors. And hopefully these tools will help you guys gather in meaningful conversations, and you'll be able to walk away with some good leads.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. See you in a couple weeks.